What's up, guys? WWTD this week. I'm back. I'm in my office today. You can see it's not the most beautiful office in the world, but it gets the job done and rent's cheap. We've been here for 12 years. So, for those of you that are like, man, he kind of has a hodgepodge office. Well, we do, but whatever. I like it that way. It's more comfortable. But I want to shoot a video today. It's Wednesday here. It's Bring Your Four-Legged Child to Work Day. You can see I got Lola here. And then I want to show you guys the trophy that is up there. There it is. We can zoom in on it. One of our DFA members thought it would be pretty funny to give us a Kung Fu trophy for the deal that we locked up with the guy that we dubbed Kung Fu Terry. So if any of you guys are not in the DFA but listen to the podcast, you probably heard the story about the 1-inch punches that I got to the chest and the roundhouse that Chris got to the chest, kind of unannounced roundhouse. And then the stick fighting skills that the guy showed us. Anyway, we dubbed the guy Kung Fu Terry. We got the deal locked up. And we went through due diligence, and it looks like it's going to be a great deal all around. So anyway, I figured you guys might like to see that trophy. I thought it was pretty funny. So Justin, thanks for the trophy. But hey, what I want to talk about this week is something that I've been hearing rumblings of. And to be honest, I kind of foreshadowed this a little bit in last week's WWTD. Like, the tide will wash a lot of people out. I've started to hear people start to freak out a little bit. They've started to say, is the market changing? And it could be. It could not be. It just depends. I don't think any individual market is going to change dramatically without many changing as a whole. Mainly because they've all followed the same course over the last, 5-6 years, which is, an upward trajectory, a pretty strong upward climb. And so Portland's definitely one of those. And so, there's been agents here that are like, oh my God, the market's changing. It's slowing down. We're feeling it. We're not getting showings. Our houses aren't selling as quick. And, part of that might be true. It's hard to tell whether or not the market's hit its inflection point in terms of like buyers will not pay what sellers now want. It was only a matter of time because a lot of sellers were smoking crack in terms of what they thought their houses were worth, and agents were like, sure, I'll list it, no problem, and they thought that they could get it. We're in a little different position when we do rehabs and new construction because it's a turnkey vacant product, right? So it's a little easier to sell that for top dollar unless there's some functional obsolescence or external things that you just can't do a lot with. But in terms of selling a product, the turnkey vacant product is the easiest to sell. But I digress. So what I want to talk about is the market changing, right? And the reality is yes, it probably is. But we're also in that time of year where the market always changes. It always gets soft. End of August, September, October is when you see the most dramatic change. By the time you get into October, people are used to the slower conditions. So when you get in November, December, they're expecting it. Right now, everybody comes off of the summer highs, right? And the buyer frenzies that are out there, and everybody wants to buy and sell in the summer, or at least, historically that's the way it's been. And then you get into August, September, and it drops off. And people start to get, worried this year in particular because it's been such a long uphill in terms of market improving that now we're in a flat spot or in a dead spot, it feels like, in terms of activity levels. And so people are starting to get a little worried. Is it the inflection point overall? Maybe it is. Should it be? Probably should. So, it's very possible that this could be the market starting to shift, or at least push back and say, hey, seller, you're out of your mind. That's too much money. And there'll be a little seesaw back and forth in terms of prices kind of coming a little bit back down to reality of houses that didn't sell anyway to begin with, right? So the market is changing. And to be honest with you, whether it's long term or whether it's just that cycle of the year, I don't know exactly. I'm leaning towards it's probably going to flatten out as we continue forward, and there won't be a bumper crop next year in terms of price gains. But we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. But I have to say, there's a lot of people out there that are kind of freaking out about it. I'm kind of excited about it, to be honest with you, because we've been in such a long uphill that there's just a lot of people that think they're geniuses out there. And the reality is when the market cools, those geniuses will be exposed for just average investors. And that's the reality of the situation. And so, certain things that will start to happen. Number one is if all you do is wholesale, you're going to have a tough time making the kind of money that you've made. And, that's just because not as many people are going to be in the market. Number two is not as many people are going to be in the market in terms of marketing to be wholesalers, right? If the market is perceived as it's softening and competition is really high and response rate is low, a lot of people are going to say, screw it, I'm not even going to do this anymore because it's not the beacon of light opportunity that everybody thinks it is right at this moment in time, or they have up to this point. So people are going to start to dwindle out of the business. They're going to stop sending direct mail. They're going to stop marketing. Not everybody, but there'll be a good chunk that do. On top of that, there'll be a lot of people that are doing rehabs, that are holding projects, that maybe bought a questionable property. Maybe they're asking too much. Maybe they did a shitty rehab, right? A lot of rehabbers that are the Home Depot special guys, unless you're in the low price points where buyer's IQ is just not high enough to recognize that, those guys won't get hurt too bad because, the reality is buyers really don't know the difference. If it's clean and turnkey and a low enough price point, it's clean and turnkey and it sells. But as you climb up the ladder in terms of prices, those guys that are playing in those higher prices, doing those Home Depot rehabs, sorry guys, you're going to get washed out, you're going to get bucked off, and it's going to leave a really bad taste in your mouth, and you're probably not going to want to do this anymore. So that's where we're headed. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of excited about it because, a little secret, back in 2009, we were still selling houses in a week, and you still can. So the reality is everything sells for a price. It's just a matter of what that price is, and so you have to plan for that price. But you also, as you head into a slower market, need to put out the best product that you possibly can and know which price point you're operating in and know what you can get away with and what you can't get away with. And most rehabbers don't know that information. They just don't, because they don't engage in the rehabs. They leave it on the project manager or the general contractor to pick a lot of stuff out, and they don't put too much thought into it. And because everything's selling, they haven't had to put a lot of thought into it. And those are the guys that are going to have to completely restructure their business, or they're going to pull back, or they're going to bow out. We'll have to see. But is the market changing? Could be, or it could be just the time of year. We'll see. But either way, it's nothing to fret. As long as you run a good business, you do good projects, and just understand that at the end of the day, everything sells for a price. It's just a matter of what that price is. And if you do your business properly, the only thing that a slowing market means is maybe just a little less profitability if the market stays strong. So that's this week's WWTD. As I always say, I may not walk on water, but I do walk on my own job sites. See you guys next week.